Greetings, salutations, and other big words. My name's Ethan. My handle is Wrangler, and welcome to Frequency Studios. And for today's IronAge Spotlight, we are going to be visiting the world of arcology. We will be looking into the Association of Ishtar, and here to help us guide us through that is Bonsart from Radio Retrofuture. Bonsart, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So, Arcology, the Association of Ishtar, you have built a world out of many worlds, it seems.
Yes.
And so, first of all, let's start. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in this project.
All right. I'm Bonsert on the internet, Bonsert Bokel. That's also my pen name. I'm based in the Netherlands, and I got into steampunk in the steampunk community about 11 years ago now, 2012. And I, from the very beginning, I wanted to explore the genre and what it entails further. So I created a blog called Tupperware Steampunk that later turned into Radio Retrofuture on YouTube, which I run now for 7 years, I think. And that I have the Steampunk Beginner's Guide, where a documentary series in which I explore the various elements of steampunk, the genre, the community, and the aesthetics, and how they are related to each other. I undertaken various other projects, collaborated with musical artists in creating a radio station for Fallout 4, a mod that is part of Old World Radio 2, which is still available. So that was my real first venture into making audio dramas. I used that experience in making my own audio dramas, such as for the Association of Ishtar. And yeah, I've done a lot in regards to the steampunk and steampunk culture. However, I got a lot of questions on the Steampunk Beginner's Guide related to steampunk world building, characters, and such. And I was talking a lot about it, and I was like, well, I should be writing my own fiction, shouldn't I? If I have so much commentary on it, and that's. I started experimenting with a very old idea that I had, because I also have a costume group, and we did various themes, that I wanted to explore with that. I never got around to actually writing the background, especially not because I play a character for the Steampunk Beginner's Guide called Dankert Lexicon. And, he did not really have a background. He was a character that I originally used to do interviews. And those interviews would be done like written as in character, would kind of be written as they were stories into themselves. So because for me, fiction, the ability to tell a story, is very important to steampunk. I really don't like it when people have like these elaborate costumes and there is no story behind them. And that's so I did that, and because of that he turned into kind of like a burglar, kind of like a hacker as character, because he was burgling their secret facilities and stuff like that. And then I started using him for the Steampunk Beginner's Guide. And in the Association of Ishtar, I eventually created this world called the Association of Ishtar calls it Elysium, but those people who actually live there call it Hades. And Arcology is the city inside of that space station, that is, floating somewhere in the orbit of the moon, or maybe it's not. It's not really clear what's going on there. But that's kind of where I'll leave it.
Yeah, I was getting the idea that arcology was outside of the regular time space.
Yes. It is, and it's not clear to the association what is exactly going on there. Like the way how I write, I really write the universe like one story at a time. The Range in the Machine is actually inspired by 5-6 short stories that I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is that the responses to that book was like really like it all feels so complete. And well, the reason for that is that I explored all the things that I mentioned there in short stories. So, like, I got all the complicated stuff out of the way in a narrative. Not in like some this world works like that. No, there were actually full stories with they're not traditional stories, but they have a middle, beginning, and an end. And that's also how I created. I forgot to pick this up. Um, this is Igraine for the upcoming Kickstarter campaign. You can get a 35 millimeter version of her. This is 7 centimeters, I think. And yeah, she originated from one of the short stories that I wrote called S06, which stands for Subject 6. And the funny thing that she started off as the idea behind her was that at the time there was like this discussion, how does steampunk technology work? Like, is it magical or is it something else? And they started throwing around the word Clark Tech. Now, for those who are not familiar with the term, it is basically the concept that technology can be so advanced it might as well be magic. To the average person, the Hadron Collider. How the hell does that work? You know, and that's kind of like led to the creation. So the argument was because of that misquotation of what Clark Tech is. Say, well, if it's indistinguishable, you might as well just make it magic, and the end of discussion. And that was kind of my reaction, that I created a character who believed that her technology was magical. But because it's from the viewpoint of the association, she had to come to them. So it became she became a lost girl who accidentally ended up in the world of the Association of Ishtar. The story behind that is, and that's actually quite a central concept, is that the Association of Ishtar lives on a version of Earth that has all these gateways to other worlds opening up. And she's basically from one of these worlds where she's being told that her cyberpunk-esque technology is actually magic. And she comes in this world, she's like all, it's all Victorian age technology that they have. But, they have to like go along with our worldview that no, that's all really
so,
magic.
so it's a
Yeah,
cyberpunk character in a steampunk world.
yeah, kinda. Yeah. That's a fair enough description. Um, but she thinks she's from Hogwarts. That's kind of the thing. Now at this stage where you see her here, she no longer believes that. So she is literally the world has literally been dispelled for her, which is that comes from a history book, the dispelling of reality, where you got to understand, and why steampunk is such an interesting genre for me is that let's say if you were born in the 1750s, you'd be living in a agricultural Christian where reality and magic are still things that people believe are true, like the Solomon Kane-esque worlds, so to speak. But if you lived up to 1800, then all of a sudden your world would have been turned where the majority of the population is now living in the cities. And agriculture, that like the countryside is displaced to the cities, literally. And that makes steampunk such an interesting topic for me, and she's kind of like a metaphor for that, where there is this girl who believes like the world is magical, literally, and then she moves into this world, and things don't work the way she thinks. Her body does not work the way she thinks, and she has to move to arcology because the technology she has in her body, which was designed for a 12-year-old, she's now, by the time she ends up in arcology, she's nearly 18, so she is grown.
Mm-hmm.
And all the cybernetics in her body are destroyed due to reasons that happen during the wrench in the machine. She's a side character in that. And so she has an eye patch here, and this is not done, so I have to tidy it up. But so she really is in this situation where she's kind of like in this city filled with refugees, see herself as an exile who does not belong in the world where she is now. She is in a world that she cannot, well, did not understand at all because magic all of a sudden does not exist. And yeah,
Oh, so
now
there's no magic system here, or
there's no
it's all
magic
straight
system.
tech?
Yeah, yeah. Well, for me, like magic is really detrimental to steampunk because of the themes that steampunk excels at. Like I see, um, a genre as a toolkit. That is, when you are a carpenter, you have a toolkit designed for carpentry. You can use it
Right.
for other things, but it's not optimal. And for me, like if you include like magic and steampunk, like for me, the themes that I find important, they don't matter anymore. I mean, it can be done. There are fantasy scenes that have done the themes of steampunk in a very good way, but like it's really that force of technological progress versus magic. So if you do that, you really have to focus it on that topic. It's an interesting
Yeah.
topic, don't get me wrong, but if I would include it in the Association of Ishtar, like the themes would not work at all. Like the whole setting would literally fall apart.
Yeah, and if you were, it probably most definitely have to be a hard magic system. Like there is a physics to it that can be broken down and understood. And
Well,
I think you
that's
kind
the
of got to
way.
do that with most magic stories anyway, because the
Mhm.
soft magic systems, you either it seems like you often can end up painting yourself into a corner without realizing it.
Well, that's one of the major issues with magic in stories overall is that it's often included, without much thought. Oh, it's just a trope of the genre. Um, and especially, I like how magic is done, or at least how it's depicted in the Game of Thrones series, where it is this force that people do not understand. Like they know it exists,
Hmm.
but the moment they see it, they immediately like they don't want anything to do with it, and that's also how I like it in the original like Lovecraft stories. Like it exists, or some force that people call magic. It's not really explained, or it's kind of like the Clark Deck effect. A force so powerful, it's beyond human comprehension. And I really try to keep like a balance. We talked about the white airship before Phenomenon 12. And the phenomena designation in the world of the Association of Ishtar really refers to elements they just do not understand. And
Hmm.
there's also this discussion that the characters have in the second book about the difference between supernatural and preternatural. um, and I recently got a Lovecraft inspired comic with all kinds of like famous people from history dealing, fighting Lovecraftian horrors, and there's out and out magic in there where you're like, did you really have to do that? Because it becomes this force that mere mortals can simply control, and what was horrific about it is just gone. And it also is supposed to be a collaborative. I'm talking about the Association of Ishtar. Is supposed to be a collaborative project. And when you put something like magic in there, people go
Yeah,
crazy because they all want to have the most powerful characters, and oh, we can just create rifts out of thin air, and it's just a bit of a mess. And you often have to pretend that in previous things the magic did not exist. So, oh, I now created this magical power, and you will often get the reaction, gee, it would have been useful if he had that magical power like 3 scenes back.
yeah.
you know.
And right there is what I was talking about when you paint yourself into a corner. If they can
Yeah,
do things at certain points, but they couldn't at others, and you're like, why? So you can.
yeah. You don't even realize it. That's the thing about it. I recently cut myself in my second book in archaeology. There was this, well, let's call them a cult, and they pick up all the corpses. Like if you die, they'll come to collect. They don't understand how. They just find the body and bring it away. And at one point, I mentioned in the original draft that the protagonists, take a corpse to a morgue. And then I was like, wait, that could not happen because of the cultists. The cultists would immediately take the corpse away. So, it's things like, it sounds like such a simple rule, but it's something you will often quickly overlook. Um, that morgues are not a thing, or at least no, not for humans in that world, because the corpse collectors would just come collect them.
Now, speaking of this project, oops, there we go. Here is your
We got a new
Kickstarter. Link is in
yes,
the description below, by the way.
awesome.
Bound for the Sticks. So,
Yes, and
no, this now it says steampunk novel plus audio. I wasn't
yes, the
quite sure what you meant
audiobook.
by novel plus audio. Oh, an
Yeah,
audio
the
book.
is audiobook, but
Okay.
I could not like include it. Yeah, it's very annoying. I'll probably remove the audio too out of the title, but I've seen other people do it. But it's very very annoying that you want to type something and then says no, no, you can't. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, a lot of people are like, well, I only listen to audiobooks, so that's kind of the issue with these type of things. However, I've got an interesting thing to note that if we reach 100 followers, I'm going to commission a new miniature. So she will have a companion.
But hold that
Uh,
right up to the camera so we can get a good look.
yeah. It's this is the bigger one. The other ones will be D&D/Warhammer scale, so they can match your other collections of D&D characters. Um, like it's a futuristic scavenger esque. A friend described them as sewer pirates, which I guess is kind of apt because the tunnels of the space station where arcology is in is yeah, it's very overgrown with fungus and stuff like that. I actually have a very wonderful drawing by our illustrator Johan, and he's now working on a new banner to include on the Kickstarter. So this one is going to be replaced. It's a good one, but yeah. And you can also see she has like mushrooms on her hood. That's kind of like so they can see each other in the dark.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's basically a safety, and they use fluorescent mushrooms instead. And yeah, the tower in the back that is the Tower of Records, as we call it. It did not exist at the moment that this drawing was made. It was actually supposed to be the Radio Retrofuture Tower. However, he drew it so differently from the original concept. So let's just make it its own thing, and it became the Tower of Records, which is basically so the story behind arcology is that we mentioned the white airship before, and what basically happens is when a world in this multiverse gets destroyed for whatever reason, the white airship picks up some of the survivors and delivers them to this space station, and they eventually end up in arcology if they survive the journey through the hallways at least. And
Okay, so
um,
arcology isn't the entire space station. It's
no,
an
no,
area of
no.
the space station.
It's an area of the space station. Yes. So there's like all these areas in the space station that are still unexplored. Like maybe they explored like 1% of the entirety or something.
Oh, so the
Uh,
people living there and inhabiting the place don't even know where it came from.
no. And to make things worse is that the majority of these people come from pre-industrial civilization. So the most people that end up in arcology are actually like hunter gatherers, Mesopotamian early city builders. So they're not even very advanced, and that so it's a city where no one can speak each other's language essentially. Um, and yeah, none of the people have a shared history. And the idea behind the Tower of Records is that all the information that has not been stored by Radio Retrofuture, it's a story into itself. All these when a person dies, he leaves behind all his belongings, his journals, whatever, and all that stuff is basically brought here by volunteers. People have no idea what all these manuscripts and whatever says. So it's yeah, a very interesting collection indeed of stuff that nobody really knows what to do with. And in the basement of that tower, because it's built on a bunker, and that's called the garden, and there is where all the religious symbols go. So you've got this overgrown chamber that is like filled with Buddha statues and whatever religion you never heard of is all gathered below there. So yeah, because all these people are very superstitious and they are really afraid of all the gods that might be lingering in this place.
All right. So let's talk about the Association of Ishtar.
Oof. Yeah, that's a story into itself. So the Association of Ishtar, they as an organization, they do not play a major part in this. They are the one who sent the protagonist to this place. They have secret dealings with its founder, Dankert Lexicon. So I guess my alter ego, I guess you could call it. And yeah, their job, their self-appointed job, is to protect their world from all these threats emerging from the multiverse. And therefore they also go out and explore other worlds, to see what is there, if these worlds are a threat to them, and also like at least their official designation is that they advise people in the local authorities in containing these rifts, because there's no world government. So all these countries, organizations, municipalities are all responsible for maintaining the rift-related activity. They're basically treated like a, I don't know, a natural hazard, I guess you suppose, because what else do what do you do? And the association officially advises these organizations. However, they're volunteers who do this. They do not work for any government. Um, they collaborate with other organizations, and they make that very clear at certain points. Um, and yeah, they also act as inquisitors at times, at their own volition. So they are by many they're treated as a threat, and by others they yeah. So they're not really heroes in the classical way. They are, yeah. There's a lot of discussions going around about abuse of power, and when is lethal force authorized. So yes, and this doll, I don't know if the viewers can see it in the screen, but in the book cover, Igraine, who's in front, has a little doll in her bag. She's very dark, so I don't know if it's visible. Yeah, there we go. That's Anwin. And Anwin is like Igraine's best friend, and in Bound for the Sticks, he's still a plush doll. However, in the next book that I'm very far with, yeah, Anwin comes to life. And
Now, is that Edwin also the one waving here?
yeah, that's Anwin. So yeah, that was an experiment. Like, the idea is that like Igraine is 18 by the end of Bound for the Sticks. And yeah, we also get a flash forward. I think she's 21, 22 there. She still has Enwin, but Enwin is a plush doll. And I had an issue, like, because I really liked Igraine's interactions with the doll. She has like these conversations with the doll, um, of which she is, of course, the voice. And she has these discussions with herself using the doll as a kind of medium. And yeah, a lot of people really enjoyed those segments, and I did not know what to do with Enwin outside of that. How long are you gonna have an adult run around with a doll that she takes everywhere? So I basically just decided to do an experiment and make Enwin alive. And now it's I think I posted on my website like 7 or 8 chapters called Adventures in Responsible Doll Ownership, which is yeah, basically Igraine learning how to take care of a doll who's now sentient, and has to live. She does not speak. So, but she does things, and it's like a combination of a pet and she's like a pet monkey. I guess that's the best with the development, the curiosity of a toddler. So,
Yeah.
and it's just basically feel good stories with a very dark edge, and a lot of people are very torn, like, oh, she's so adorable but also so creepy. So it's very funny how people react to Enwin. And yeah, it's gonna be a novelette, like 30,000 words, a couple of chapters of just Enwin being adorable and making life difficult for Igraine. Of course, he's also gonna go with Enwin, with Igraine on an adventure for the first time. So yeah, it's also, I guess you could say, it's also a little bit about being a single mother in that regard.
And yeah, she's got to grow up fast in those kind of circumstances.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, is the space station? You said there's portals from all these other planes of existence. Is the space station at some kind of like cosmic point where it's just natural dumping ground where things happen to break through to this area, or were they
Well,
placed there? Was there
actually,
intention?
let's say, you can see she has a lamp here. If you, these are called veil generators. And what Igraine's first adventure in the station, like, you've got like all these scavengers going down the tunnels to gather up like resources, food, and artifacts from the old station that they can use to expand their city. However, the so-called prickets carry these lamps because the veil, as they call it there, is so thin, constantly, like these horrors from other from some other unknown place that they often refer to as the void just break through and make life difficult. And these lamps kind of recover the veil strong enough so that does not happen. So this entire city is like filled with these lamps, that are basically protecting the community in a way. And the founder, Denker Lexkin, is the only one who knows how to create them. So the city can only like keep existing as long as he is around. So that's how he basically controls that place for himself. And
Yeah,
yeah,
he
so
seems to be like trying to do a good thing, but almost in a bit of a shady supervillain kind of way.
yeah, it is
I
like
can't
I
tell if
have
he's good guy, bad guy, or a little of both.
Well, he's basically both. I really want to have him in the future, like kind of develop as in a shadow esque character who has like his minions all throughout the city, that he can call upon to do his bidding. But there's also this force, this development going on because all the people there who come there are like, they lost their worlds. They have nothing really to live for. Their history, everything they once valued is gone. Like that entire narrative, it just ended. Like, you can go there as the son of an emperor, and nobody gives a damn because you know.
Yeah,
Um, and that's like one of the things that I'm really exploring, this sense of hopelessness and the point that nothing matters to these people. And then you have got Igraine, and she has the luxury that if something would happen to her ecology, she can go home with the help of the white airship. She has like a silver ticket that allows that. And
so she could
so she,
return to her place of origin.
yeah, yeah.
Most people there cannot.
None of them can. There is like this group that are often referred to as tourists or Tataks. Tataks is an Indonesian term that used to refer to not colonists but people from the Netherlands. My family's from the Dutch Indies, so and my illustrator is also from Indonesia with family ties in the Netherlands. And there was this concept of the Tatak, and the Tatak, a story that my grandmother used to tell was, you recognize the Tatak because he always had a jar of applesauce. And the reason why they always had a jar with applesauce was that when they ate native food, they would add applesauce to that because they didn't like the taste. So and then those were the type, those were people, those were often administrators who from the Netherlands. They had like this operation in the Dutch Indies, and then they went back home after a time. And those were, but they never adjusted to the local culture. Not like the so-called Indos, and the Indos were basically Dutch colonists who are which is also it's complicated, that part of the story. But and that's why I adopted the term Tatak to describe people who come to ecology with the white airship. They have their own little place that is called the factory. And no, it's not an actual factory. It's like a factory as a kind of like a trading post type of deal. They rarely leave it. They just, want the stuff that they want the benefits of ecology, but they don't want to have anything to do with the city into itself. And, one of the things that Igraine can stand is that the locals keep referring to her as a tatak. And one of the reasons for that is because she does not understand what it's like to be utterly hopeless and have no past or concept of a future. Because for them there's only one certainty, and that is that you end in the sticks. That's where the title comes from. Where the cultists come to take your body away, and that's the end of the story. And the fact that Igraine is there and keeps talking about what she wants to do in the future, that really aggravates a lot of the locals, because they just cannot wrap their hand around it, that there is something more waiting for them than ending up in that river. And yeah.
And so when they hear that, it's just like jamming the one thing they want the most in their face that they could never have.
Yeah. Well, they don't even think about it. They don't know. They don't even realize that they want it. And the only group in this world, they're called the Homecomers. They believe that, well, as the name implies, that the people who end up in ecology are destined to go there. That are kind of like the chosen people. And they're the only ones who really believe that there is a purpose to ecology, that the founder has like some divine destiny, and they have like this entire belief system around the city and everything that's in it, and that includes the founder. So there's still a lot of stuff that I really want to explore, and I really look forward to working on the future issues on that, where I go deeper into those, well, metaphysical things, I suppose.
Now you mentioned a silver ticket allowing her to leave. How does one attain a silver ticket? What is the significance of the silver ticket?
Oh, that's that's kind of a spoiler. So
okay, then don't go into that. I don't want to do spoilers here.
Yeah. So it's not yet fully explored. Like, I'm a very organic writer. I want to surprise myself with what I come up with, and so I do explore that question. It is revealed like how the silver tickets are created, who is responsible for creating them, and then there's like a hint to what happens inside the white airship itself. That's something I really want to explore further in the future. I really like explore this world one story at a time. So there's just some questions that I cannot answer yet, and that's because I want to I want to have that moment like, yeah, that's it. And so
all right. Let's take a look at the Association of Ishtar site here. Right. The Association is a one-of-a-kind series of books, comics, and videos set in the multiverse that takes inspiration from pulp, western, classic science fiction, and cyberpunk. The goal is to create a collaborative universe that involves talent from all over the world.
yes, we have a video that's actually just over 1 minute, I realized, but yeah.
So you want to play this through?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
All right. I like how much you've put into it, though. The in character, the you got production value happening, and it seems like you're obviously you've been working on this for a long time, and it seems like you're just getting started.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's true. Yeah.
Greetings, fellow traveler, and welcome to the Association of Ishtar, a multiverse of cosmic mystery and steampunk adventure. The Association of Ishtar is a clandestine organization of volunteers investigating anomalies called rifts, portals to other worlds where anything is possible. Most of these planes are but savage variations of Earth, but some are home to advanced civilizations or the occasional alien beings beyond human comprehension. Every day, these brave men and women are risking their lives by crossing the fringes of reality. Should they succumb, they will die in obscurity. But it's not the Associate's vocation to perish, but to seek out and gather information on the copious threats lurking beyond the rifts to ensure humanity can overcome. After all, those who pry prevail.
And I gotta say, it looks like you are having fun doing that too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but I'm try. I want to be proud of what I created. So yeah, and people appreciate it and recognize it, and yeah, I'm very curious to see where the series will stand in 5 years. I hope more writers will contribute and put their ideas and take the series in places where I did not expect it could go. um, Sheen Marsh is a good friend. We are still in contact, and yeah, we may take up a collaborative project because I want to expand into other media as well. We have a comic in the works, and yeah, like I said, I'm working on new adventures for Igraine, and making future plans for the series. Currently, I'm also trying to. I hope to finish a story tomorrow. That's kind of like an interlude that people receive when they subscribe to the website, the Association of Ishtar. So I'm working hard on getting that done. And yeah, this year I really hope to like up my marketing, ability. I am working on the Kickstarter, of course. I hope secretly. I don't know how well it will do, but I secretly hope on 5,000. I think that is realistic, but we'll see. That's my hope. But if I get 2,000, I'll be happy as well. So, but yeah, the reactions is the reactions are very positive. So it's now to find the audience. That's my big challenge for this year.
Yeah, that's usually the biggest issue with independent creators being marketing,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
that that takes quite a push, and that's like a slow burn to try and.
Hmm.
However, speaking of which, you have an entire YouTube channel with all sorts of cool stuff, and I forgot to put the link to that in the description down below. So I'm going to drop that into the chat right now. And let's see, there we go.
Yeah, it's quite well, doing quite well. Well, I mean, in YouTube terms, it's small, but when it compared to most indie creators, it's quite a big channel. So very proud of that fact. We're approaching 3,800, 38,000. I wish. But yeah, it's steampunk is a niche topic, and I like talking about niche things. So
Oh, you have a second channel I didn't notice before. The
yeah,
Retrofuture Research Foundation.
yeah, but I do not post there anymore. The idea was I created that when I just started out with the Association of Ishtar, and I had done some steampunk themed SCP videos. SCP Foundation is also a collaborative project of science fiction and fantasy stories. Um, Kind of similar to the Association of Ishtar. They've got like thousands of stories on there, and yeah, what can I say? I did some recordings. People like them, but due to how YouTube works, no one even realized those videos were on my channel. So I created a second channel where I would just do audiobooks. That was the idea. Also, audiobooks for independent creators. But and I've done some of my best work originally on that channel. Like I did a retelling of Lost Exile, which is one of my favorite anime series. Also very retro futuristic in its appearance. I learned a lot about world building from that series. And yeah, unfortunately, I just don't have the time. I wanted to make more videos. Also, I want to make more Association of Star videos, but I just I'm just lacking in time. So I kind of hope that I build up a community with people who are like, yeah, we want to make content like this, and do it collaboratively, also with more voice actors and yada yada. But now I'm just stretched to my limits. But yeah, we'll see if I make some simple videos. I stopped doing recording myself. Instead, I have like an animated character to do the movements. So to cut down on production time and effort, because it's quite a lot of work to have to dress up for a video. It's quite a barrier. And I also I wear glasses, and the character wears a monocle, so I have to like put in lenses and.
What I think is kind of neat though is the steampunk stylization, and then I look at your outfit. Your outfit looks like it fits in regular modern day or a steampunk setting, either one, and it just fits right in
Mhm.
either way.
Well, I mean that's how I like my steampunk. I'm not much of the. I never enjoyed the steam goth aesthetic. The associate costume that you can see in the photos. That's probably the first time I ever wore brown. Um, and like I said, storytelling is a very important for me. And I look at so many of the steampunk costumes you see in conventions these days, and like, what the hell are you supposed to be? What are you gonna do with that? Um, and I also get like a lot of remarks from people like, "Whoa, your costumes look like something I could actually walk around in and move in and do stuff in." Because having done reenactment, I've done like 14th century reenactment for about 10 years. I trained people in sword fighting and spear fighting.
Oh wow,
Um, and oh yeah, yeah, I
you're busier than
commanded.
I first thought.
Yeah, I don't do it anymore. I just don't have the time, as I said. And I was just done with it. I had done like about everything there was to do in there. So and then I started writing, and I wanted to do my own thing. So that's how that happened. But yeah, it's yeah, I know the importance of functional combat equipment. And I want that reflected in my costumes. And like I said, I actually wear my costumes. So that many of the costumes you see in the series are things I actually made or wore. And so I know how my illustrator wanted to draw spurs on a character design we recently did, and I said, if you are a scavenger going through those hallways, you're not gonna be happy wearing those spores, because it may seem like just a minor thing that doesn't bother you, but when you want to put your let's say you're crossing a slight slope, like in the movies where you have the characters like on the cliffside of a mountain. Yeah, those spores are gonna get you killed, because you're gonna miss that few centimeters of space that could potentially save your life. So things like that. And yeah, so yeah, it's I know all the finer details of actually wearing those equipment things, and also the use of does she have them? No, she does not have them. But wide belts, the old fashioned leather webbing
Yeah.
that soldiers wear, which are very functional and can save your life if you are a driver. That's even though they didn't really need the wide belts, a lot of drivers used to have them because if they were stuck in a turned vehicle or something, they could be pulled up by the straps, those leather straps. So things like that. I love that those types of details.
Yeah. Now, so you've been putting this together for how long now? Close to a decade?
The Association of Ishtar. I think I started writing. I think I wrote the first story in 2017, and yeah, I've been working sporadically the first couple of years. And then I got all this collection of short stories, and I took them to a publisher, and they said, "Well, we love the stories, but we don't think this will. We are afraid this will alienate an audience because they're written as journals and files. So could you write them together in the terms of story?" And that kind of like inspired the Wrench in the Machine, where I included some of the short stories as files that the characters find and can investigate. That's also the nifty thing. Let me pick. I think I sent you this. This is the Arcology Companion. My first attempt at an anthology where I finally figured out how to like combine the files, and I really wanted it to be actually look like files,
Yeah. Well, if you'd
and
like, I could put the screen version up right now if you
oh
want.
yeah, sure, go ahead. And yeah, and so I'm very very proud of how it turned out, and now I can make more of them. And yeah, my community helped to edit and create this and give feedback on it. And what I particularly like about it is that I can like include all these sketches in the border to fill up space, like that one. Things you don't put in the actual work. And yeah, so it's great fun to make. A lot of work that is the case, but yeah, it really explores like the final details that I could not put in the book. But these are the stories that inspired Bound for the Sticks. That's the idea, and
I
they're all
really
fun.
like the detail you put even in the background of the paper on the pages
Yeah,
themselves. It
yeah,
it looks like it could have been like old handbooks and stuff put together.
yeah.
The
Well, the original
the
idea.
apparent age of the papers.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, the idea was really that people, if you wanted to role play a story from the association, you could literally give this to players, and this is like an in-world document. So it's something that actually exists in the world, and yeah,
Oh, see, I didn't get this far earlier when I was looking through that. There it
yeah,
is.
the white airship, yes. In one of its many forms, probably. We also have the white airship in video form, by the way. That's why the images were originally created. So my hope is that eventually I've gathered that many illustrations. I can just make full narrative videos exploring the lore, exploring the stories, um, and all that stuff. So yeah, and
This must have taken some serious time to put together.
well, I recently discovered InDesign that made it a lot easier to make. Yeah, having the right tools is very important. And yeah, I finally invested in InDesign. I'm very happy that I did. Like, there's free software that allows you to make stuff like this,
Oh,
but
nice.
yeah, InDesign works so much better.
See, I'm
I'm
barely competent with the word processor, so trying to put something together like this seems like just
you know,
a mystery to my mind because I don't know how to use all that stuff yet.
you know, yeah.
Aha.
That's the founder, my character that was done on a friend's stream. They have a stream called Drawn and Quartered, And yeah, they have like these drawing competitions, and they did one competition that was inspired by my characters, and somebody drew Danker Lexicon, and I added the city below that. That's from another concept art piece, so I kind of like mixed them together in the background. Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with things like Photoshop and all that software. It's truly amazing.
Up and the bureaucracy is there.
Yeah.
Redactions.
Yeah, yeah. That's also like somewhat I had to experiment with, like, how can I do that? Um, but
Well, you
yeah,
must have a very complex social political system happening for a place like that, where so many different people get crammed together
yeah,
by accident
yeah, yeah.
almost.
And like, yeah, I really like focus Bound for the Sticks on, like, what's the experience like for her. It's really written as a kind of like exploration, what it's like for a person to come to a place like that. So it's, the politics are kept to a minimum. But yeah, there are factions are being introduced there. You have the veil generators. That's actual lamp in my living room, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what inspired the idea of veil generators. Like, we had made this lamp. I can look at it right now. And but what is it? What does it do? Because originally we also wanted it to take to events. It never happened, but and it was like, okay, what does it do? And that's how the idea of the veil and the lamps came up. And now it's in the part of the lore, and we have a whole bunch of stories like that where we just have this object. What is it? What does it do? Where does it come from? And like in a very similar fashion to how Dankert as a character was created and what he does. So yeah.
And in
And
the background there's the tower for Radio Retrofuture, I'm guessing.
yes, yes, yes. And that antenna, that cable goes all the
Coils?
way to the dome covering the city. Yeah. Yeah, I removed it there, but yeah, it goes all the way up. And of course, all the avians and stuff like that. Like, it's a very, we're still going through the process. Like, how does everything look? Um, you know, but yeah, it's growing, and that's the drawing that I mentioned to you before, which is the captain. And
Yeah,
there we have
there
it.
she is. There she is.
Yeah, but maybe we can do like a kind of like "Where's Waldo" meme with Enwin, where we just hide Enwin and like.
You must the Wi-Fi must be on, because I was about to say I found Waldo, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, people really like Enwin, and cute little doll, and there's like all these possibilities that we can do with her. And my illustrators are like, can we like make short comics with her, like in the French comics. So yeah, maybe we're gonna do that, where the adventures of Enwin doing Enwin things, I suppose. So
you just
yeah,
talk about Enwin the way I talk about my cat. What's your cat doing? He's doing cat stuff.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's like I said, I explore my stories are really explorations of all these crazy things. Like, people often talk about vehicles, like what kind of vehicles, and like, well, I don't have a function for the vehicles yet, so I do not include them until I know, like, okay, they're especially made for that purpose. And the same goes for the tower and the lamps and everything, you know. And yeah, that's the one of the first sketches of the city by an illustrator I unfortunately lost contact with, because his style really matched what I want to do with the series. But I'm also very happy with Johan, or current main illustrator, who drew the other cityscape. And yeah, that's all going to go into a trailer at some point, and the book, of course. But yeah.
Anything you can tell us about this particular symbol, or?
Yeah, the horned owl. It was a long process to figure out like what I wanted, like the symbol of the Association of Ishtar to be, and it's a reference to the horned crown of Ishtar, the goddess. And a lot of the goddesses for the period all have horns as crowns. And they all seem to be like a good symbol for the association as an investigative organization, but also as watchers of the night. So that's kind of multiple meanings in there. And this one looks more alien than the previous one. The one that's on the Wrench in the Machine is more official looking. But this is an alien city, so I wanted to look a bit more alien. But yeah, for a series that's called the Association of Ishtar itself has very little. It plays a very minor role up to this point, so I hope to remedy that. But Igraine is going to be an associate in the near future, so yeah, we're going to have more association of Ishtar related stuff and characters.
Yeah, and so it sounds like her adventures are just beginning. Because,
Yeah,
like I said, you've been working at this for a while, and it's finally come to a point where it's starting to.
yeah. Like I said, I explore my world like one story at a time. um it's one thing to say, well, there is this monster, and it's like, oh, that's cool, but I often like miss, okay, but what does it mean? Like, how does the Association of Ishtar respond to that? And what other things can we for me, again, steampunk is a very thematic genre that's so hard to define and talk about it and explain to other writers. Okay, well, this is how you write steampunk. I'm working on it. I'm working. I always make my scripts now. First, I create the blog, then I turn the blog into a video. The video that we talked about before, like steampunk is steampunk's Victorian science fiction, is one of my more brain farty thing, and trying to gather feedback and see how people react to it, and maybe something that I can include in an actual more fleshed out video. Um, so yeah, that's kind of like how I work, and I really want to have a community of people that actually talk about steampunk. Where can we take it? What's the vision for steampunk, and how can we make it a solid genre? Instead of oh, here you've got an author that's doing some gaslight fantasy, and here you've got a guy who's doing pulp. And I mean, I want all that, but there needs to be like a clear vision for the genre, and I kind of like hope to do that research while creating the collaborative project that is the Association of Ishtar. I mean, I only have one collaboration now, story-wise, but there are so many. I also noticed when it comes to the illustrators, I actually get like requests from illustrators. Hey, can I do a commission for you, because I love your stuff. And I really noticed, especially among the American illustrators, that they're really tired of doing the superhero stuff. And now they have to do this, and I'm telling them, well, it needs to have influences of noir. So okay, well, how do you draw noir? And then you get to the typical Venetian blind-esque lighting and stuff like that. So for them, it's often a very new experience, where I demand they play with light and shadow, because especially shadow. I love like the German expressionist movies from the 1920s, 1930s, like Metropolis and M, and what other film did I? Yeah, The Big Combo, which is one of my favorite films of all time. That's from the 1940s. But yeah, so I experiment a lot with the visuals. So that's why I tend to call myself an art director, ironically, but it is kind of like what I do, where I really say, well, actually, it needs to have a shadow there, or it needs to have like more garbage and stuff. And yeah, I'm very hands-on when it comes to commissions. I'm very surprised that the illustrators accept as much of my commentary as they do. But yeah.
Lost the button. There we go. I'm going to come back to the Kickstarter page for a moment. So this, you said, this will be going live March 1st?
Yeah, that's my intention. And well, of course, it's going to have the book. It's going to have the archaeology companion. Bound for the Sticks is still it's done, but it needs to me have more proofreading because I don't want a repeat of my first book launch, which I'm still editing. But it will be more fleshed out. I mean, people are loving the book so far. So, but yeah, there are some things I want to see differently in the makeup and stuff. So I'm still experimenting with that a little bit. Bound for the Sticks is already looking good. Proofreaders are working on it right now, so I hope to get less spelling errors out of there very soon. And my illustrator is working hard on getting the illustrations done. So yeah, well, we also have miniatures. We have 3 of them. This is just the newest one. I don't have the other ones here yet, but I have the prototypes of the busts here, which I painted myself. So yeah, we have bookends of the characters of the first book, S36 and Associate 212. We also have gaming miniatures of them. We've got some wonderfully illustrated postcards, including one of Enwin, so you can get her. And yeah, we've also got the comic S36, which is me learning how to make comics. And I'm open to other suggestions, but yeah, we already got quite some products on there. So
comics are now available, or that's in the
yeah. The Wrench in the Machine and S36 is already available. Do I have it here? I do have it here. Yeah, we've got S36. Like, it's really thin. It's really me learning how to make a comic, and also includes a short story of another series set in the same setting about the Coffin Girls, but let's not talk about that. And this is, of course, the Wrench in the Machine with the wonderful cover work by Star Ranger from Sweden. And also it has the files in there as well. And let's see if I can find the illustrations really quick. I cannot, of course. But yeah, there will also be illustrations in there as well. And here's one by, I think you know, Neutron Bohr. And I just had it. Where did it go? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We also has art by Neutron Bohr in there as well. Because I commissioned him for my first Kickstarter, which was a coloring book project. So if you like coloring or just art in general, we also have a wonderful coloring book, which I do not have handy, but yeah, that's also going to be on there.
Okay. Is there a particular website where all those are? People can go to see all those?
They are available on most online stores now, including Amazon, but also Kobo, Barnes and Noble, some other website I never heard of before. But yeah, if you look for the Wrench in the Machine or Association of Ishtar, you'll probably get like a dozen or so stores where you can get them. And of course, you can order them from me, especially the digital ones. You can get from me, and you can also order like signed physical copies. But yeah, then there's going to be extra costs. So, you know,
So
transport.
we could probably find our way to all those things through the Association of Ishtar website.
Yes.
I'll bring that back up one more time.
I still need to arrange an actual physical store on there, but you know, that's all has like subscription fees, so that's really freaking annoying. But you can subscribe to the website. Soon I'm gonna include like additional gifts for subscribers, like the story that I'm currently working on. Yeah, and I also have a blog on there with stuff related to writing, mostly steampunk in general. And I also post drafts of my stories on there as well. So
Awesome.
there's a lot to explore there. But yeah, we also got photos on there and other art. And yeah, all the entries into the Association of Ishtar Archives. And like I said, people can contribute themselves, but for that I suggest you head to our. Oh yeah, also a drawing of how to make your own Association of Ishtar mask. Uh, but yeah.
And there is a lot here and even more potential
Mhm.
with everything you got building. So you're hoping to have a collaboration, different people writing stories,
Yeah,
making
I
comics.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah, we also start.
that sounds awesome, but at the same time, like a lot of spinning plates could be happening at once, where you want to make sure continuity errors aren't happening, and so
Yeah,
that
well, that's definitely a thing that we need to work out in the future. But first I need to have like collaborations. I'm also working on articles like, how do the associations, how do the associates work, and as people show more interest, like there's definitely a lot of offers who said, yeah, we want to collaborate in the future. Is that ever going to happen? We'll see. But one of the things that I want to achieve is also train aspiring writers, give workshops and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope the community is growing. Then I can also, am more motivated to organize the workshops because that's also a thing. Everything I'm doing. Tomorrow, a matter of fact, we're doing a character creation stream where we make characters for this setting based on GURPS. For now, maybe we'll develop our own system at one point, but yeah, that's for the future. That's my 5-year plan to get to that point. And yeah, right now I just want to pump out more content. Watch like what people want to see, what questions do they want to have answered, what do they want to expand on in the future, and yeah, all that good stuff. And meanwhile, I'm finding more people to collaborate with, so we'll see where it all goes.
and possibilities are endless, especially when now most of the people that go to arcology are human
Yeah,
from
yeah,
various versions of Earth.
yes, that's the idea. For now, I am not really open to the idea of aliens, or at least not as let's say what could possibly become playable characters, because I want it to remain a universe of cosmic horror as well. And if you humanize aliens, it becomes like the
Yeah,
horror
the
elements
big
become.
scary monster comes up, and people are like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?" Yeah, it
Yeah,
takes all the
I mean, what
out of
makes
it.
the people of arcology so unique is that they are surrounded by cosmic horrors. What I am, and actually, I already kind of like planned ideas for that in the second book, is that she encounters a Homo erectus. So like a human that's about 9 feet long. Um, so there are like other Homo species there. I definitely want to have like Neanderthals. They will not be called Neanderthals, of course, but humans with an extraordinary sense of smell. The Homo erectus, the Homo denisovans, which are the cone heads, which I have big plans for in the future. And yeah, there is a kind of like a leprechaun species as well, which are like really small apes. I have not written them in any published works yet, but I have started stories with that. They who are like basically the 18, but like miniature size. Um,
That
so
sounds like
they,
fun.
yeah. The idea is like that they are like this crack team of commandos, and then they're like end up in a world of giants where they cannot really achieve anything. Of course, the founder uses them because well, why not have a bunch of leprechauns working for you? However, they're the size of Anwen, so I want them to have like interact with this. What to them is like a giant doll. Um, but yeah, that's something that I'm looking forward to working on. I've written some scenes with them where you've got like the Hannibal and the face, and yeah, of course, all their abilities are
Oh,
practically
please tell
useless.
me one of them has a mohawk and is afraid to go on
Yeah, of course.
airships.
I can. I have not yet gotten that far with it, but yeah, it might indeed have like a fear of heights, or indeed some grievance against a particular type of vehicle. Yeah, it's absolutely possible. Well, of course, the benefit of them being leprechauns is that they can fly on the creatures flying around in that place. So we can definitely do something like that. Um, yeah, that's for future stuff. Like whenever I come up with a concept, I write some scenes where the concept is explored and how it could possibly go and develop, and then I leave it there for a while until I have more motivation to work on it, or just a sudden burst of inspiration. So I've like this entire collection of blurbs and scenes and stuff like, oh yeah, I can include this in the future. And then it's like, oh, I have an idea for that, and then I can include that. So I finish the story, and then I can include the concept in the rest of the tale. So yeah, and that's also how I can mix and match all the things that should have no connection with each other, but still do. And that's also how Igraine originally ended up in my first book. It's like, oh, I have her, and oh, she would actually be perfect for that role, and yeah. So that's my how I work.
Yeah. So, how many people do you have working with you on this project right now? I mean, you got some illustrators, some editors, I'm sure.
Yeah,
And it's
I've
probably
got
going to
a.
expand quite a bit.
Oh, it's I got some people on the Discord who either proofread stories or help me edit a bit, or how I can exchange ideas with. Um, so, and of course the illustrators, most of them are commissioned, but like I said, I'm very picky about the illustrators that I work with, like people that I that get into the idea that I collaborate with. Like Johan has been very supportive, very open, and very eager to deliver the best artwork that we can make. And yeah, other authors are like well, please commission me again, because for them it's for a lot of the illustrators, it's like, oh, I never done shit like this before. Um, and I also have like a very specific vision for the series, and that's yeah. Usually they get like, oh, draw me a fantasy figure, who's a knight or stuff like that, and then I'm the one who makes demands. Like, well, actually, it has to be have this, the lighting has to be that, and the environment has to be sus and so, and I have all these parameters that they need to work in, and that's it can be very this is often misunderstood, but it can be very liberating to have parameters to work with, because so if I work within this parameter, I can do anything. Pretty much.
Yeah, but then your mind just tries to go all different directions at once and it goes nowhere.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
having that you're beholden to can sometimes keep you going.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. Do we still have coffee? Yes, a little bit. Cold coffee.
I think it pulled off mine too.
Oh, there's a lot of stuttering right now.
Yeah, I was getting that. I was getting that as well.
Okay.
And probably because I'm doing this from a laptop connected to Wi-Fi, which is and the router is on the other side of 2 brick walls. So strangely enough, it's allowed me to keep doing these streams and interviews without too much trouble.
Good.
I'm eventually going to have to come up with a better plan, though. Maybe run an Ethernet cable in here and actually plug it in.
That's what I would recommend. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have it plugged into that important thing called a TV that I barely ever watch anymore.
I have a TV, but I barely watch it. It's like I only put it on when I have guests, really, so I can watch in the living room, and that's about it.
Yeah, That's what I turn on when I'm going to sleep.
No, not even that. Yeah, I have a video computer screen that's bigger than that. So, yeah.
Yeah. And usually it's a YouTube video of thunderstorm sounds with a black screen. That's what I'm usually playing on the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, now I think of it, I can actually replace it with a bigger screen. I have an older monitor screen I do not use at the moment. I could actually replace it with that and have better quality. So, decisions, but that also takes energy, which, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so arcology, the Association of Ishtar, a multiversal stopping ground that's usually a final destination for most people. And I am looking forward to all this really taking off. I can't wait to see where this goes. I honestly, I'm looking through there and I'm like, I hope to see games. I hope to see. I would love to see video, maybe someday movie. I don't know. But it looks like there's so much fun to be had here. And I'm not a steampunk guy. I'm not. I mean, the closest thing I've seen to steampunk, and it's probably not even considered true steampunk, is Wild Wild West.
Yeah, it's Weird West. Yeah, it's well, I mean,
That's the closest I've gotten to steampunk. And looking through this, I'm getting psyched up.
Great. Yeah, well, like I said, spread the word. I hope to make 100 followers on the Kickstarter page soon. So I can in full confidence commission the next miniature. So we're working on the concept for the character. We have a poll, like I said, on our community page on YouTube with over 30 votes. I'm very surprised by the amount of feedback on it. Quite frankly, I did not even think that 100 followers was possible, but there we go. And I also promised that if we make 150 followers on the pre-launch page or 5,000 on the Kickstarter, that I'm seriously getting into the game development side. But I really hope that the income comes up. This is the second channel that I made. It has like all the SCP short story stuff. But I have Association of Ishtar stories on my other channel. So I think there's a playlist called the Association.
This is the correct one, right?
Yeah, this is my main channel. Yeah. And so there should be a playlist Association of Ishtar on there, and there's some really, pretty proud on some of those. I really need to clean this place up. I really need to remove all those fucking playlists. I really do.
I actually need to start making some.
Yeah. Original steampunk series, the Association of Ishtar. That's the story versions. And actually, there is someone who wants to make a series of steampunk stories, a series of steampunk related stuff. So we do have those planned. If that will come to fruition, well, for that I need your help, of course. I want to do games. I want to do more videos. I want to do it all, but I want to also do more collaborations. So the ambition is all there. But time. I also still work 4 days in the week. So to fund the project. So yeah.
Yes. And also I want to bring back up onto the share screen one more time the Kickstarter, because that is going live in just barely a month.
Yeah.
I was going to say just over a month, but we got to get through February, which is barely a month. Well, we got 1 or 2 days left this month, so.
Yeah, like I said, I hope to get the first proof copy done next month. But like I said, the illustrator is still working, and I still want proofreaders to go through it one more time, so all the spelling errors are gone and typos, so I don't have to go through that embarrassment again. I want to have this reach 100. So I can get the final miniature done. The miniatures are pretty much printed. I already arranged a printer for the US side of things.
Awesome.
Distributor has been arranged. So yeah, it's. I really need to finish this page. I'm still compiling rewards. So let me know what you want. I'm really looking forward to feedback on that. And yeah, we'll see how it works. The benefit over the first Kickstarter is that the first Kickstarter was a coloring book, so that's not the hottest thing. Um, and now I have more things on offer, like 2 new books. Um, we've got hopefully 2 new miniatures, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm very curious to how it will turn out. If because the last time I think I had like 47 followers, and I managed to collect 1,600 euros. So yeah, now I have 3 times that number. So and an understandable product. So yeah, I really hope for the 5,000, and then I can I would have earned back everything that I invested. Um, and yeah, that's yeah, earning back that investment. That's
You kind of have to do that to make more stuff, don't you?
yeah. So that's kind of the thing, and now postponing a lot of stuff because money is not necessarily the issue. Otherwise, I would not be doing this. But um,
Oh, I could see in your YouTube videos when you're playing the character, you are having fun. There's a love for the content here, that's for certain.
mhm. Yeah, yeah.
The amount of work just putting into just those, let alone everything else you got going on. I mean, you got to love what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot do what I've done if you don't have the passion for it. And then, like I said, I also my hope is that it will help other people develop their own content to create their own take, and learn through that. And it's I love to see that the illustrators, like experienced illustrators, are very proud on what they're creating, because it's even to them too. It's not just oh, this is another commission. So I'm very proud that people feel involved in the actual creation process. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see where it goes.
We're probably going to start wrapping this up, but I want to
Yeah.
shout out everything one more time. We got your YouTube channel, Radio Retrofuture. We got the Association of Ishtar.com, which has a lot of info. And coming up, March 1st. Is it March 1st?
Yes, March 1st. That's
March
the
1st.
intention.
March 1st, we got the Kickstarter for Bound for the Sticks. And yes, I've hit the notification because I want to know when that goes live. And yeah, I want to start digging into these books as soon as I get through a whole bunch I got going on back there. That's like good problems, I need something to read. Now I have too much to read.
Yeah, that's and the terrible thing is, like, I barely read myself. I'm dyslexic, so it's not a relaxing endeavor for me, as for avid readers. But I do love to write, and I do love to create, and I'm very proud that we're also working on comics. And yeah, I eventually I really hope that I can have enough funds so I can basically commission other authors. Say, oh, I have this idea, I'm gonna work it out. I just don't have the time, But it does. I mean, in the most optimistic view, it does have the potential to become like a kind of like steampunk / cosmic horror-esque 40K universe at the rate it is going now. So we'll see, and then people really become like, every time I present it on events, people ask, "And are you going to make a role-playing game?" So yeah, I don't know how that experience is for other authors, but they do ask when I'm somewhere. So
Yeah. Well, when this is launching and going live, you are welcome to come back and talk about it if you'd like.
oh yeah, sure.
Definitely enjoyed this conversation. I enjoy what you're the concepts you're putting forth here, and I can't wait to see them come to life more detailed.
Yeah.
Hey, let's see that figure one more time. I know it's still a bit of a work in progress, but
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is so cool.
yeah. Yeah, it's drawn by the original concept was drawn by Alexander, and the model was developed by oh God, I keep forgetting his name. It's Ukraine. He's Ukrainian who lives in Ireland. Can I? Yeah, Zymian Studios. Who also who you can find on Instagram, and yeah, he's doing more in game development these days. But he makes time for me, so that's awesome. And yeah, as you can see, it's a very unique figure. You will not find anywhere else with a lamp. So yeah, and I'm very curious what kind of adventures people will play with these characters. I do
Yeah,
not have.
when you first sent me a picture of that figure, I was looking at it going, what is that she's holding in her hand? Is that some kind of weapon? It is a lamp.
Yeah. They're called prickets, and yeah. Yeah, as an often model collector, that's an awesome piece. Thank you, thank you. Well, please support the Kickstarter. I am considering making a.
You got a compliment from the chat on that one.
Yeah. I saw. Thank you. I get a lot of compliments for the miniature, and like I said, we're currently running a poll on our page for the second miniature. So if you go to Radio Retro Future on YouTube and go to the community tab, there is a poll going on there where you can select the next miniature, which is going to be a bit more conventional, but yeah, it's going to be the looks of it. Let's see if there's been any change there. Let me pause that. And go to the community tab. Let's see what is happening there. Has there been any new votes? No, Nier is still in the lead with 65% of 56%. So yeah, that's likely to be the next character. And god damn it, I hate how YouTube cuts these images. God damn it. So
Is this
anyway,
the poll right here?
let me see.
I do have it on the screen, right? Yeah.
Where are we? Yes, that's the one. Yeah. But the previews of the YouTube's images are terrible. That's why the heads are cut off, and I cannot modify it. So that's thanks, YouTube.
You know what? I didn't even know you could do pictures like that in a poll.
Yeah, me neither. But I could not add pictures in another way because I have like a larger one, and yeah. So Nier is currently in the lead. I was hoping on Chef, but yeah, that one is on 30% right now. So yeah.
All right. Well, Bonsart, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all these awesome retro radio future steampunk world out in the multiverse where anything can happen and probably will.
Yes. And thank you for having me. Yeah, well, you already shouted out my thing, so
yes, it was actually a joy having you on. I never actually spoke to you until 10 minutes before the show started.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
you're a blast to talk to. So thanks for coming on. Check it out on Kickstarter. It's Bound for the Sticks. I am definitely interested, and I will be backing that as soon as it comes out. Anything else you want to shout out before you go?
Yeah, just that we have, I don't know if I mentioned our Discord community. So if you are an aspiring writer or just, looking for a community or a collaborative project, we have got a lot of other authors and creatives on there who I all had on my own show. I also do a podcast, the Radio Retro Future podcast, which is also on YouTube. And of course, like I said, we also have a steampunk documentary series if you want to learn more about the genre, aesthetics, and that culture. And yeah, I'm always looking for new collaborations and place to show my stuff. So
awesome. we love shilling here, so that works.
Great. Yeah. So.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you enjoyed this presentation, hit the like. If you didn't, I appreciate you dropping by. See y'all next time. And
All
God
right.
bless.
Thank you. And good night.